Call of the Void contains strong language and possible trigger warnings and is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Deacon.
Hi, I'm Jack.
And welcome to Call of the Void, a podcast about all things weird and macabre. So, this week, I just kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I'm unsure if you've heard of or anybody out there has heard of. It's very possible that they have because this is a fairly old... it's one of the oldest, weird things that I know of. But ChipChan.
So I only very recently heard about it in a very sort of in passing sort of way. Because our lovely, lovely friend Jen, aka the Batclam, mentioned it. I don't even remember why. But she was like, yeah, there's this really creepy thing called ChipChan, and, and then she gave a very brief synopsis that, to be quite honest, I forget. So I
Fair.
don't know, I basically know nothing about this.
Well, this has been a thing that's been going on for the past 13 years.
Is it still running?
It is still going.
Oh, shit.
She doesn't live stream as much anymore. It's very infrequent whenever she actually does. But it seems very recently she's been becoming more active. But it used to be that she would stream for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That's
nonstop, all the time, never ceasing, constant live streaming herself on the internet. And the story is very odd. So, basically, to give the briefest of synopses, and I'll probably get more into this later, somebody was sort of looking through unsecured webcam stuff.
Okay.
On 4chan.
Okay.
And a lot of people sort of, I don't know, fixated on her. Because she had some, really weird sleeping habits, or not really sleeping habits. And then she started doing writing stuff for a while. All we know this lady as is ChipChan.
Writing stuff?
Yeah, so she would essentially, she would write things and talk to, well, not talk to, but her story. And she would kind of tell people stuff through Reddit posts or things on, she'd put up signs on the live stream and people could read it.
Okay, but were these cohesive posts, or were they
from what I understand, they were cohesive.
She'd write
it's just her basically
a couple sentences, it wouldn't be just a couple words, or...
Well, it would be sort of I don't know, she'd answer questions or stuff. Or talk about different things or whatever. But again, all we know her as is ChipChan. And we don't know what her real name is. She's essentially an unidentifiable Korean woman.
Yeah,
who
okay.
Apparently, okay, in 1999, I'm reading this from the story of ChipChan Tumblr page to kind of be able to tell you more about her, and you can find this at chipchan.tumblr.com if you would like to, or chip-chan.tumblr.com. In 1999, a police officer who had been stalking her somehow captured her, rendered her unconscious, and implanted in her what she believes to be a Vera chip. This Vera chip, she believes, has utter control over her life, and the officer who implanted it into her ankle, as she most often writes, has access to what she sees, says, and hears. And he can also control her sleeping, making her fall asleep whenever and however long he wants. So, for a while, it was originally believed that she had narcolepsy because she would be doing things and just pass out. Which she later said that she believes is P, the police officer.
Like the letter P?
The letter P.
Okay.
That he's the one who is controlling her and making her sleep. And that's how people on 4chan's /X board, that's how they found her. She was asleep, and she was so deep in REM sleep that a lot of people thought she was dead on camera. She sleeps in kind of the most uncomfortable positions possible sometimes. It can be in a computer chair. It can be, just, I don't know, like she falls asleep in some weird, unnatural positions. So people like legit thought she was dead at first.
I mean, same.
Anyway, that's fair. I feel the same sometimes.
When I do sleep, because insomnia is fucking killing me, man.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I get that a lot. So this goes, again, this has been like going on for the past like 13 years at this point.
13 years.
Yes. 13 years.
Dude, how do you sustain this?
Don't know. Like I said, she's not been live streaming as much anymore, and she's starting to post more now, and starting to live stream more again now. But yeah, this has been going on for a while.
It's crazy.
But as early as 2008, ChipChan has been posting her story as far across the internet as she could manage. And a lot of people have written her off as crazy or just ignore her. But we don't really know what's actually going on with this woman. We don't know if this is an actual thing that is happening. We don't know if this is just some weird ARG. We don't know. We have no way of really being able to tell at this point. Nobody's ever had any contact with her besides what she's posted on the internet.
I mean if it's jinx, but if it is like an ARG or something, that's really, really impressive. Just for the simple fact that, like, in the beginning, she was live streaming herself 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get money? Do you ever go out?
She never left her house.
And nobody came in, I assume.
No, so nobody ever came in. She never left. So nobody really knows how she was making money. Nobody really knew how she was getting food or groceries. Nobody knew anything about her. She would live stream for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just sitting in her home, never going anywhere, never doing anything, never, it was just, she would sometimes like write out signs, or she would like paint stuff, or be reading, or be on the internet, browsing Tumblr or something, and then she would randomly fall asleep or something.
Okay, but like practically, like what if like she had to use the bathroom? Like, was she ever like not on camera? Like, did she ever?
There were times where she like walked off camera.
Okay,
but it was never for like super long
times.
periods of time.
Yeah.
Like, she would always be back on camera again, but this lady never left her house. If I remember correctly, the way that the camera was positioned was facing her door, like her front door.
Uh-huh.
So she never really left. She never went anywhere. She never did anything. We really don't know, again, how she was making money, how she had groceries, how she was doing really anything. And that being said, I can't write this off as like this is like a really elaborate like 13-year-old ARG, because again, she was live streaming for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know.
That's the only thing, like, if this is something like that, it's really impressive.
Yeah, like, my question is, how would this be a sustainable thing to continue doing if that was the case? But also at the same time, we don't know the validity of any of the stuff that she's actually saying, because a lot of people believe that she's mentally unstable or...
Well, here's the thing. You know, like, the whole thing about the chip that can make her fall asleep whenever and, like, you know, gives access, like, how much of that is rooted in scientific fact rather than science fiction, first of all? Like, how much of that is actually possible? And, like, second of all, it's just, like, I feel like the question more isn't the validity of what she's saying, but more, you know, in, does she really believe that this is what's going on? You know what I mean?
But apparently very recently she commented on a post about RFID chips.
Okay.
Saying that she believes that that's like a thing that the Vera chip, you know, is, or whatever. Like, she posted on a thing like that, or whatever. But
what is a Vera chip? Is that, like, I'm not technologically savvy, so is that like an actual thing, or is that
I've personally never really heard of anything like a Vera chip until ChipChan's story popped up. Mm-hmm. I had never heard of anything like this until her whole, like, thing blew up on the internet. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. I don't know, you know, if there is something like this that they're actually that is capable of being able to do the things that she says. I don't know. We literally have no way of really knowing whether her story is true or not.
This is
but insanity. A lot of people who are on, you know, 4chan, they want to help her. They've been trying to get in contact with her and everything else, trying to arrange for her to get help, or just, you know, spreading her story, however. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. And yeah, like, who knows whether or not, you know, this P really did implant a Vera chip in her. Who knows if he's actually trying to manipulate her life? Why specifically her? Mm-hmm. But yeah,
it's just the thing where it's like, if such a thing actually existed, I feel like you'd be able to find at least one other case like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, she lives in Seoul, Korea, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, it was
Seoul.
Yeah, well, that's how I've always heard it pronounced, but that could be very wrong.
Yeah, that's how I've always heard it too. Seoul, whatever. a lot of people around here in North Carolina call it like Seoul, Korea, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
That sounds like something that somebody with a very heavy Southern accent would say.
Yeah, so Seoul, Korea. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we don't know her exact location. There's a lot of things around her that is just we like this just complete mystery. There is rumor that there is an elderly couple that helps her out when they can. Okay. Like a next door elderly couple. But again, we don't know. We've never seen it.
Yeah.
ChipChan claims that she's been doing this since 2005, 2006, but she's only been really writing and posting videos, things like that to us since like 2008 when she, was blowing up in popularity. But one of the frequently asked questions on this site is, what is the deal with her? She just lays around all day or sleeps all night. In her writings, ChipChan claims that P keeps her from leaving her apartment via Verichip planted into her. How true this is isn't certain, and we've never really seen her leave her apartment. But yeah. And what's this about the Verichip? According to ChipChan, P has implanted a Verichip in her, first in her ankle, and as she continues to discover its location, P changes it. At the moment, she believes it's implanted in her brain, and with rumors of the Verichip causing cancer, she believes she will soon die of brain cancer. Also, according to her, the Verichip gives P access and control of ChipChan, from being able to see her and hear what she does to being able to render her unconscious whenever he wants. It's unfortunately the one part of her story that is extremely hard to believe. However, perhaps with more digging, we'll be able to figure out more. But we really don't know.
How does she say he moves the chip's location?
I don't know. Like, that's just, she just hints or talks about, like, that it changes location whenever she tries to find it. So she'll try and find it in her ankle or know that, like, there's something in her ankle and then go to feel for it and it'll move to some other place on her body.
Like, I really, really hope that this is just some elaborate internet ARG or something like that, because the idea of somebody going through this, like, believing, because I don't really, like, believe that, her story is true, but the idea that, number one, if that whole, like, thing that I said with the time cube thing, when I brought up that whole, like, okay, well, what if this person's right and we're the crazy ones? Like, in that kind of scenario, it's a fucked up situation to be in to begin with. But even if the scenario is she's a deeply disturbed woman who genuinely believes this, that's so sad. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, like, there's been a lot of things that, she gets up and changes or moves signs around, or she sits down on a little chair bed thing that she has made, and she has a clock that just, like, sits behind her all the time and shows what the current time is. One of the most recent blog posts on this blog is from February. And it says, "Hey there, I've read through this blog extensively, and so I know that you don't check it often, but I recently stumbled across this baffling case and have become incredibly interested. I watched ChipChan's live stream for a bit, but then decided to screen record it as I can't devote that much time to live watching it. Currently, I have a 16-hour video that pretty much is nothing but her sleeping. The entire situation is confusing and intriguing. Before I began recording, I saw her wake up once, put on a sweater before returning to her seatbed, and once it seemed like she woke up in pain. I tried to take a screenshot, but they didn't turn out so well." I'm still recording, but as of this writing, it looks like she's been sleeping for over 30 hours. The camera feed went down for about 30 minutes or so, and when it came back on, she was wearing a headband while sleeping. Definitely odd and intriguing. At this point, I'm wondering if it's the same person sleeping in the chair, as after the camera cut out, the person looks different. Could be the lighting affecting my judgment. And who or what controls the lighting turning on and off in her apartment while she's sleeping? As I said, I'm completely baffled and completely intrigued. I asked a few friends for translations and got some help, but it seems like the same general text and translation as before. And then they posted again and said, "It's always her. A few years ago, she let an old elderly couple poke her heads in. I believe they were trying to help her, but as far as I've ever known, no one's ever seen her. No one's ever seen anyone but her in the apartment." So, again, it's just a very, very, very strange situation.
But that's kind of interesting that he said that it looked like a different person.
Yeah.
Which, like they said, it could be, just the lighting playing tricks on him, or tricks on them or whatever. But, yeah, if she's not always on camera, it could be somebody who, it could be somebody who looks similar to her, maybe a twin or something like that, or it could be... Okay, but here's the thing, how good is the look at her face during these times, because if she's sleeping during most of these times, and in these crazy positions and whatnot, it could very well be that there's that she's turned in such a way that you can't really tell it's not the original person. And that could very well be how she's doing this. She has somebody, a sibling or a twin or whatever, who,
but
who looks enough like her to get away with it, but not enough that somebody might see it.
To be fair, though, there's not very many times where she's not sitting in her chair, or the webcam goes down. That's a pretty rare occurrence, from what I understand.
It's crazy,
because usually it doesn't. She posted on her new campsite the other day.
I was gonna ask, about that. I was gonna ask, where is she streaming? Where has she been streaming to this whole time?
It used to just be a random, it was an unsecured, webcam thing. She was just live streaming herself to try and document stuff.
Okay.
But apparently she posted, a picture the other day of a bunch of, I don't know, a bunch of pictures of what appear to be eczema.
Eczema, the skin condition?
Yeah, like the skin condition,
okay.
all over her body.
Oh, okay.
She's got, severe skin problems. Somebody, they posted and said, this poor woman is barely alive. Apart from her mental condition, which is certainly not good, she seems to have severe skin problems. Possibly a type of skin cancer, but it looks, it looks a lot like eczema.
Mm.
Days ago, she had this image displayed on her new campsite. If it's not live, the view mode can be changed to animated, and you can see the latest snapshots as animation. Yeah, like she posted this image the other day, and I mean, I don't know, like, this whole situation, whether or not this is a thing that's actually real or not, like, it's hard to say, because either way, she isn't doing very well. There are times where she is sitting in the back, just kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden she starts screaming in what seems like terror, or she starts just sobbing out of nowhere. There were times where, like, there's a post that's posted on like February 28th, and they said ChipChan hasn't moved since February 13th, where she's just sat in the same position asleep for 15 days, unmoving. The clock behind her is moving properly, but she just slept for like 15 days.
There's gotta be some masterful editing at work here. Because biologically that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That somebody would be able to do that. She would be dead.
It's... The whole situation, again, is very, very, very strange. And nobody really knows what to make of it. But it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, like, internet creepy thing.
Yeah.
That has ever really been a thing. Like, I remember hearing about this when I started first getting into things like creepypasta and ARGs and all that kind of stuff. And I was intrigued by it and was like, this is like super weird, and reading about it and getting into it, but it's been like so long and there's so little information, and it's like spread all throughout the internet, so it's hard to like pinpoint and track down.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to find like exact information about any of this stuff because it's just so sparse and scattered throughout the internet. But when you do find out anything about, you know, ChipChan or whatever, I mean, it's certainly an interesting read. And I wish that we knew more, and I wish that somehow, some way we could help her.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know. Again, with her live streams being very sporadic now, like, she doesn't really live stream as much anymore. It doesn't really seem to me that, like, maybe she's not in the same situation anymore. Because, like, she was live, like, maybe, what's this, six days ago? So, the 15th? Ish? Yeah. Yeah, so she was apparently live then, but then the stream went down, and she hasn't been back on since. From what I can tell, at least via these Reddit posts of people posting that she's live, oh my god, or whatever.
Around when do you know did the streams stop being all the time and start getting sporadic?
I don't really know. I know that she was live streaming herself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and she was doing this for years.
Okay.
Like 24/7 for, like, I think it was like at least 4 or 5 years where she was just 24/7 all the time.
That's insane.
I don't know if it's any more than that, if she's ever, like, you know, if it was like, you know, maybe 8 to 10 years or something like that. Like, I don't know. I just knew, like, I know that as of late it's been very sporadic. no one's really thought about or talked about ChipChan in a really long time. And, you know, as such, and as, you know, rule of the internet, it's a dead thing at this point that people don't really talk about or remember anymore. Usually after about like 2 or 3 weeks, people forget about these kind of things and they move on to whatever the next meme is. But you know, I heard a lot of people talking about it again recently, and I thought, hey, maybe we should kind of talk about ChipChan just a little bit, you know, let people know that this is a thing that exists, and see if we can find more information, and that it's a real thing that is still ongoing to this day. It's very sporadic whenever you see it happen. I mean,
I know that there's a lot to go through if you can, but is there a way to watch any of her old broadcasts?
I'm unsure, honestly. It's very possible. I was on a Reddit earlier about ChipChan that basically, I mean, there's literally like r/ChipChan is the Reddit, but people kind of categorize and document all the things that are going on with her. Sometimes she has a mic on, sometimes she doesn't. You know, sometimes there's, you know, weird whatever. Sometimes she's just asleep for however many hours. But yeah, I mean, it's just very, 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 very super strange.
I mean, she could also just be like a performance artist from a super wealthy family, so she doesn't have to worry about being taken care of, and she could just do this all the time.
But yeah, I mean, apparently, from what I understand, her YouTube is mind control weapon.
Okay.
And she just goes live sporadically and doesn't upload any of the videos. And yeah, she pops on live on YouTube streaming whenever. But yeah, like, I don't really know what to make of it. I know that she also does things that are like, that she actually has like a website where she live streams too. But yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing that I wanted to bring a little bit more attention to, for you to kind of explain, you know, what it was when we referenced it the other day, and also to,
because you and Jen were like, "Oh man, ChipChan," and I'm like, "What's ChipChan?"
Yeah, it's a crazy, strange thing that exists.
Yeah,
and
because like one of the things that like you, Deacon, and everyone at home listening should probably know and understand about why I might not have known about stuff like this is that, like, number one, I had basically no internet for the majority of my life. And when I did have it, it was dial-up, and I wasn't able to really go on all that often. So, like, the only things that I ever knew of the internet were through my friends. Like, I didn't have, like, consistent access to the internet until I got my last job. So, like, I was, like, 27 when I finally had, like, full access to the internet. So, like, at my own home, and I didn't have to, like, go to the library or whatever. So, whatever I knew was through, like, friends of mine and everything. So, like, I've never heard of this before. And even if I'd had, I wouldn't have been able to watch any of the videos. So this is
it's super weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody wants to know more, you can find there's r/ChipChan. There is chip-chan.tumblr.com, and you can actually go and it looks like she does have some videos uploaded.
Okay.
So you can go to Mind Control Weapon on YouTube and find her channel. Her icon is like her foot with a red dot on it.
Okay.
Like on the ankle where she thinks the chip is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, I would definitely look into it. It's still an interesting thing that still is ongoing and still happens to this day. Which is crazy strange to me.
Well, I think the length of time that it's been happening lends itself to this being someone who genuinely does believe that this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
Because, like, if it was just a weird internet ARG, I feel like it probably wouldn't have gone on this long, especially when people lost interest.
Yeah. I mean, not really many people think about or talk about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just wanted to draw a little bit of attention to it because it's a thing that's still going on and is still happening. And if you guys remember ChipChan, like, it's still happening. It's still going on. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting thing to look back on and to talk about. But yeah, that's all that I know to really talk about regarding ChipChan.
As you were telling me about it, I kept thinking about this one experience I had once on the subway coming home from work. And, like, there's a thing, and I've said this to friends who are visiting New York and everything, like, the thing about New York, one of the beautiful things about New York is the fact that people don't give a shit when they see weird things here because chances are that's not the only weird thing they've seen that day. So it's very rare that we bat an eye at something, like, really super weird. And, like, I refer to them as, like, New York stories. Like, everybody will have a New York story if they come visit. Like, they'll see something that to them is, like, batshit, but to us it's like, like, it's a Tuesday. But, but yeah, like, I was coming home from work one day, and I get on the train, and there are these 4 guys, sitting across from each other, and one of them is talking. And at first I thought that he was friends with the other 3 guys because it looked like he was talking specifically to them. So I wasn't really paying attention because I'm like, alright, whatever, like, it's just this dude talking to his friends. And then, like, I started actually hearing what he was saying because he kept repeating the same story over and over again. And it didn't make sense. And it was like, he kept talking about, like, you know, this place he went to, and there were so many people there, like, and he kept saying, like, you know, like, so many women and men, oh man, like, that was, like, one of the things that he kept repeating. And then he would talk about how he needed to go to the ferry at some point, and he kept repeating the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
Barely ever changing tonal inflection, even if he did at all. So I was like, oh, that's really weird. And then we came to a stop, and the 3 guys who I thought he was talking to got up and got out of the train. So I was like, oh shit, he's just been rambling this whole time. And this woman got on the train and sat across from me. And at one point, I made the mistake of making eye contact with her, And then the two of us tried very hard not to laugh because, like, it was this really nervous, like, what the hell is going on kind of laugh. And then finally, like, it was the second to last stop, and he gets up and is like, and then he drops this bombshell about, like, I was experimented on by the government. Bye, guys! And he gets off the train. And me and this woman, like, after doing this thing over and over and over again, that was the only thing that he said that was any different before he got off the train. So this woman and I lock eyes again, start cracking up, and I just look at her and go, what the fuck was that? And she goes, I don't know, but that is easily the weirdest thing that has happened all day. And it's like, the fact that, we both had that reaction in a place where, like, some shit is just so commonplace that you don't bat an eye, and that's like, I just kept thinking about this guy while you were telling me about ChipChan, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I said, I feel like if this was some weird ARG, it would have died off by now. But, like, 13 years of this?
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, that with that story that you were just saying, the fact that it's repeating the same things over and over and over and over and over again, ChipChan does, like, the exact same thing, where she has been saying the same things for who knows how long. So who knows if she's actually being, manipulated by some corrupt police officer named P, or who knows if she's just mentally unstable.
Yeah, but I mean, something could have happened in her life that, like,
some sort of trauma.
Yeah, that caused, like, again, I mean, we're not doctors or anything, so I don't want to speculate, and obviously we don't know her, but, like, dude.
However, whatever, I really, really hope that, eventually, with whatever happens, that she gets help in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. Whether this is real or not, or whatever.
Well, I mean, even if this is performance art, it's borderline dangerous at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's putting her life at risk.
So whether it's an actual thing that this person is going through, or whether it's just something that this person is doing for the internet, like, oh man, this is messed up.
Anyway, I think that's really all for this episode. We wanted to take a good second to thank our friends Gideon and Bats, who allow us to post and host our podcast on their website, fierceferrets.com. You should check out our other podcasts that Jack and I are also in. The Last Light is a Starfinder campaign that we play 2 characters in. I play a wonderful bug boy named Zrix.
And I play an android named Reese.
And our other podcast is Drunk Fandom, where basically we find someone who knows nothing about a fandom, get drunk and tell them about it, and have them try and
I'm very
retain
excited.
Information.
I'm very excited that that's starting up again very soon.
Yeah.
I need to finish the game my replay of the game that I'm doing for my first episode this season.
Yeah. Season 2 will be starting up pretty soon. And any subscribers to the Fierce Ferrets will have access to it immediately, and then 2 to 4 weeks after all of the recording sessions are done, all the episodes will be made available live for everyone. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's really all for us this week. We hope to see you guys
You said the
soon.
name of the website, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Fierceferrets.com.
Okay.
Um,
Must have zoned out for a second thinking about ChipChan.
all right. Well, until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Sweet dreams.